This is the sequence that we have been working on. This is the one with the rainbow and the offering. So what I'll do in this video is do just with hands, just so we kind of understand the directionality of things. Then I will stand up and do with movement, although as we know we can do the seated or standing or even moving. I think that's another thing that we had explored. So this is my right, this is my left. This sequence has three parts. The first one is right, left, right, extend and back and left. This entire thing repeats on the left side. Left, right, left, extend and back and right. The second part of the sequence is four. So four repetitions of three. So the way it goes is right, left, right, gap, left, right, left, gap, right, left, right, gap, left, right, left. So these are 1, 2, 3, gap, 1, 2, 3. This happens four times. As we know, that one of the things to think about is the gap, right? So we talked about the gap and the fact that we have to make an intentional effort to stop when we have a gap. So just so that we are not rushing through the movement. So that was the second part. The third one is something that repeats 3 times. So the way it ends up is there's a cross. So we're crossing with our feet. My left leg, in this case it's my hand, but what you're doing is taking your left leg, crossing over to the right. So the bend is to the right. So what that looks like on my face is, and my eyes, so you're bending to the right, both with your feet, with your eyes, and with your body. So this looks like right bend, left bend, right stamp, right comes forward, stays there, left and back. This repeats again. Right bend, left bend, right, right forward, left, right comes back. And the last time, right bend, left bend, right, right comes forward, left and right comes back. Now we'll do the same thing or the same sequence. I don't have that much space to move, but what we'll do is with the hands and the feet. As you know, this is where we use our rainbow and our offering. So I'm calling this sequence the offering of the rainbow, because why not? So the way it goes is, again, we start with this mudra, the same one that we used in our namaskara. 1, 2, 3, go. Right, left, right, extend and back and left, gap, left, right, left, extend and back and right. Next we do our horizontal, right, left, right, gap, left, right, left, gap, arch, 2, 3, another arch, 1, 2, 3. We are also looking up or looking towards our hands here. That was the second part of the sequence. The third one is, again, we start with Kataka Mukha, which is this mudra, and we go right bend, left bend, right, right offer, left and right comes back. We repeat that 2 more times. Right bend, left bend, right, right comes forward, left, right comes back. Last time, right bend and left bend, right, right forward, left and back. A few things that we have been working through is the first segment when we are still. So when we do 1 and 2, well actually we're not still, but when we do this very beginning, we had talked about using our eyes. So it's from the side to the center, side to the center. And it's like imagine if you have a little fly or a little bee that's going through your periphery. So it's right and left. For the rainbow, again, it's a movement where we can really take our time. So it's big, and what we're trying here is to get one plane or get into one line. So it's one big line. And also when we have this mudra, which is called Alapadma, we want to make sure that we try our best to articulate each and every finger. Again, this is not something we do every day, so it's probably not very easy, but we can try. So every finger and the tip of every finger has life. Also, we talked about gaze. So when we look, we are looking not at our hand, but we are looking towards our hand. So our gaze is always expansive. It's never limiting. So it's not this, but it's this. For the second sequence, I think horizontal we talked about, again, it's like pulling that PT band. So it's pulling. So there is some tension that you're pulling through. And we did the arch. So the two things about the arch. One is that there is a contrast between this, which is very linear, and then this, which has this curve. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and now the curve 1, 2, 3. So there should be a different feeling in our face and our bodies. One thing I thought about the arch is that it might be interesting, especially if we are standing and if we have space, to explore directionality of our bodies. Everything that we have done up until now has been facing one direction. But here what we can do is take the arch and explore the diagonal. So this is my diagonal left. So again, if I were to do it, starting facing front, 1, 2, 3. So this means that my right hand is above, but I'm facing my left diagonal, looking towards my hand. And then 1, 2, 3. So this is the opposite diagonal, again looking at my hand. So I'm facing my right diagonal. So that's an interesting contrast. And the last segment, which is the bend, again there is a contrast between this arch. So there is this arch, which is, again there's a curve here, and between this. So this is straight. And I think one of the things we should always, or we could always think about, is bringing in that contrast between this arch and this movement that's front. And the whole point is to, I think we talked about how this entire sequence has only 2 mudras. So we have Kataka Mukhaha, which is this one, and then we have Alapadma, which is where all our fingers are extended. But it's beautiful to think about this entire sequence with so much happening, with literally just 2 mudras. So that's the sequence. What I would like to do next, if I have space, is to actually do it the way I was taught. So just to give an idea of what I had and how I adapted it. Of course, as you know, in Bharatanatyam, we have this thing called the turnout. And again, it's not something, I have been dancing all my life, so even then it's not easy. But it's just something that looks different and looks symmetric. So the way I was taught, again, if we had to think of the 3 parts of the sequence, the first one that I was taught was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gap, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next one was 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. The arch, the way I was taught, was 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. Next comes the bend. So in Bharatanatyam, this is a typical way of ending a sequence. So the way I was taught was right bend, left bend, right, right, and left, again, right bend, left bend, right, right and front. Third time, right and left, right, right and front.